Hello everyone, I'm Deadwing and welcome back to NIMBY. Now I say welcome back to NIMBY, but you won't find another video just yet in English of NIMBY. There is another one, but this is in Hungarian. But I am showing what did I do with the transport of Hungary and Budapest, so probably it's fine in the year of automatic translations. But yeah, my favorite game is NIMBY. Please watch that video as well. There are automatic subtitles and translations. But I have also yet another crazy map. This is the UK. But the thing is, this map doesn't work anymore because it's too old. I can't start the time because trains will just crash into each other. It was built on an older version, and I needed to accept the fact that I need to redo the whole map. And what I will probably do is, so I have this area covered, a little bit of Serbia, a little bit of Austria, and I just continue to build upon this until I reach the UK where I will rebuild this. Yeah, this is like grand plans, and I won't be doing an isolated network here and here. So I will redo the UK map in like a lifetime's time, if that's a word. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys what did I do before I say goodbye to this map. Now, as I said, NIMBY is my favorite game. This map alone might have several hundred hours in it, and it has a lot of good ideas. A lot of interesting ideas, but a lot of good ideas. Now, before I really get to what I did here, I need to tell you how am I playing this game. So I'm not just modeling how it is in the real world, but I also do some extra, some um, I will try to make the system better, and I will do it in a way that it's not completely crazy, like it's doable. If they will want to do it like this, they can. I mean, they could lobby for these plans, and the parliament would say yes if they want to. It's not like, let's make a tube line from London to Newcastle. You know what I mean? It's all doable. um, but there is a lot more lines in here than in real life. Yes, because I added something London desperately needs. I added trams. I added a tram network. So this is going to be a long video, but let's start with the tube. So the tube has several, so like there is 7 central line services. These 7 central line services will give the core area the frequent service you know about the central line or all the tube lines today. Well, except when it's not, but yeah, we are trying to make the service better, right? So the first central line service already needs some explanation. Let's say the first central line service is running every 20 minutes, and it has 2 terminus stations. That will sound crazy, but it is not. I swear, it's not crazy. It is going from Stansted Airport to Uxbridge. If you go to Epping, this is Epping, right? And the railway, the central line was going all the way to Ongar back then. Look what's here, almost as far as Ongar. It's Harlow Town. And as soon as you do this little shortcut for the central line, there is already, you are, first of all, you are serving Harlow Town. It will have a decent public transport system. It can have more than this, of course. Harlow Town can have trams, for example, but it now has a tube line to Harlow Town Station, where there is a lot more opportunities to go anywhere. And the tube, what the tube is doing, is doing the stopping service to Stansted Airport. So that's what it's doing. Otherwise, it's the regular old Central Line service with just a couple of exceptions. One of the exceptions is fast services does not stop in Thaden Boys, and they do not stop at a new centralized station that I imagined. That new centralized station is Shoreditch High Street. So there is a new branch, a new stop directly below the existing overground station, and then they rejoin the line. I did a lot of things with the Central Line, but this service is regularly a standard service all the way to Ruislip Gardens, where it actually goes to another track next to the depot, which is here, and joins the Metropolitan Line to Uxbridge. And this is doing every 20 minutes. And since NIMBY is also a simulation game, I can tell you this works out extremely well. This is perfect. There is an every half an hour service between Ongar and West Ruislip. This, in my opinion, this is more questionable than the one to Stansted, and I mean it, because Ongar is really not a big place. All I'm saying, the track is there. And all I'm saying, there is a lot of people from this area who now goes by car to Epping to then get on the tube. So this is it. Imagine like we don't do much. We electrify that one. Maybe it is electrified. I don't even know. We can electrify this single track, and there can be an every 30-minute service um, on it. Do we need Greenstead Green? Probably not. But why I shouldn't add it? Why I shouldn't? So this is also a fast. Is it a fast service? It is not. It is an all-station service. It's calling at Shoreditch High Street and in Tatum Boys, and it is going to West Ruislip. Okay, service number 3 is running every 20 minutes again. If it's not really accurate, that's fine. I'm not bothered by it. So this service is an interesting one. It is running every 20 minutes from Newbury Park to Greenford via taking over the Greenford branch of GWR. So just before Ealing Broadway, there will be this connection. There is an existing connection, I believe, in here, but I'm not sure if I drew it in the correct location. It's fine. It's going to West Ealing with a new connection. I know this is dead end platform in here, but we can do something about it. And it can go all the way to Greenford, doing this in every 20 minutes. But the stations would not have a service every 20 minutes. They would have it more often. Let me get to that. The next Central Line service is Hainault via Newbury Park in one end and Ealing Broadway on the other end every 20 minutes. The next one, we would have the full loop, Woodford via Hainault to Uxbridge via Greenford. I know this is an odd one every 20 minutes, but these stations would have every 10-minute service. And yeah, I know this is an odd one, but I think we need this. We need this to divide the customers on each lines better. So that's what I did. The next service is quite standard. It's from Hainault via Woodford to West Ruislip every 20 minutes. So this means West Ruislip would have um, a service roughly every 12 minutes, even though the rest of the stops would have a service much more often. Hanger Lane, for example, as you can see, there is a train every now and then. That's 3 minutes, and then there is a longer gap because of how the services basically look like. This would be nothing new for these stops, and it's only Hanger Lane and Perivale who would have a declining number of trains stopping here, and all the rest would have more frequent. And declining might not be even the correct word. I don't think they have this kind of service on the peak time now. I'm speaking with a pain. Uh, I'm speaking as someone who lives on the Ruislip branch. Yeah. So the last service is the most crazy I did. It's from Laughton via. It's a fast service, and it is like an express central line service. It's relatively similar until Marble Arch. Then from Marble Arch, it would join a separate set of tunnels, stopping only at Notting Hill Gate, although common as a new station. And the next stop would be Northolt. And this one also would go to Uxbridge because Uxbridge needs more trains than West Ruislip. This makes it a little bit congested, but it's fine. It's manageable. All right, this is the central line. Let's move on to the Bakerloo line. Bakerloo line, I have two services that runs every 10 minutes. So in the overlapping part of their services, it's every 5 minutes. So one of them is from Harrow and Wealdstone, running through what we know as the Bakerloo line, but from Elephant and Castle, we have this extension. At West Bermondsey, there is an autosave. Burgess Park, Old Kent Road, New Cross Gate and New Cross. I know they are not separate stations. As well, I don't think there is a planned station at Deptford Bridge. Then Lewisham. But it shouldn't stop at Lewisham. It can join the existing railway, and this service would go to Bromley North, where it can join the tunnel, maybe serving a central station here. I didn't do that, but it can, terminating at Bromley South. That would be a huge improvement in Bromley, a huge improvement. The other service is from Watford Junction, every 10 minutes going through the line again to Lewisham. I know where Lewisham is, and then it takes over a different branch that we kind of expect to do in the future, the Bakerloo line. So it goes to Hayes, the the south. I said it right. The southeast London Hayes, not the other one. All right, Circle line is that simple. I didn't touch it. It's good every 10 minutes. Same goes for the Hammersmith and City line every 10 minutes. I didn't touch it. That makes it every 5 minutes around here. Okay, I did touch the district line quite a lot, not as much as the central line, but one service every 20 minutes between Upminster and Uxbridge. Yes, it goes to Uxbridge. Why not? Why is it only one of the branches of the Piccadilly line that does this. It's not enough for Uxbridge, and it's a disservice for the customers of Uxbridge. Or when I say Uxbridge, I don't only mean Uxbridge, but the whole area. So yes, Uxbridge is getting back its district line like in the good old days. The second goes from Upminster to Richmond every 20 minutes. Nothing new in here, right? The other service, every 20 minutes again, goes from Barking to Kensington Olympia. Now, this is the part when I would say I do not care when I do when I play NIMBY in general. I do not care about what time of the day it is. I do not set up a dynamic timetable that changes around the day. This is kind of um, off-peak daytime service that I do. It can have more trains, extra services during peak time. But with this particular branch, this could shut down for daytime peak periods for those couple of hours to serve more important routes, and they can go to Kensington Olympia. They just need to go to West Brompton. So there is still an option like today, but off peak, why don't we run the Kensington Olympia services? There is absolutely no reason for us not to do it, and it's silly we don't. Anyway, next service is fairly standard Edgware Road to Wimbledon and Wimbledon to Tower Hill because they can turn back in Tower Hill. Don't worry about these combined stations. This was a limitation of this game when I created this map, but we could have a separate venture, so I do not want to merge the stations, but I needed it for gameplay reasons. How it used to work is like this really limited area around Fenchurch Street would be Fenchurch Street and nothing else. This would be Tower Hill. So if they would need to go to Fenchurch, like there, if someone wants to go there from Mansion House, they would take the tube to, I don't even know how would they do it. They would need to go to Bank, then DLR to Limehouse, and then C2C back. You know what I mean? Now the game doesn't work like that anymore, but you will find these merge stations everywhere solely for gameplay reasons. Ignore them, please. All right, now that's out of the way. District line is kind of standard. Only huge difference is the that there is one branch that goes to Uxbridge, and it does not go to Ealing Broadway anymore. Right, and Upminster and Barking, that is only running that part of the line roughly every 10 minutes. Then this might be a little bit of a reduction of services, but simulation just runs fine. And every 10 minutes, if it's consistent, you can make a plan. It's better than a random ad hoc service. Right, next line is the Metropolitan line. There is a lot of services in here, and there might be some things I would do different when I redo the map. But this one is Aldgate to Uxbridge every 20 minutes, all the stations. And there is a semi-fast version of the same thing. I would imagine, and yeah, this is every 20 minutes as well. I would imagine that late nights the semi-fast stops, but as a regular thing and not a morning peak only thing, maybe afternoon peak, couple of trains, yeah, let's give the Uxbridge branch its semi-fast service almost all the time. Then there is an hourly Amersham and Chesham service, as well as an hourly Amersham and Chesham fast service. So all the stations and fast. Um, yeah, I think I think during the daytime they don't get as frequent services as this. Maybe every half. I'm actually not sure. This might be a reduction of services for Chesham. Anyway, I have something more to tell you about. Like, I kept Watford station every 20 minutes, but there is a service that also goes to Watford Junction via a station named Holywell and South Watford, how they were planning it back then. This is likely never happen. It's just not happening anymore. But I think it's important. Every 20 minutes is fine. The next line is where I changed the name of the line back to Fleet Line. I did some things that I renamed some of the lines. And yeah, isn't it silly to give a name to a tube line that's an event, that's a date? I don't like it. Fleet Line it is how it's meant to be. By the way, absolutely no change. This line is good as it is. Piccadilly line, a lot more changes with the Piccadilly line. First of all, now it goes to Ealing Broadway. It does not mean it doesn't go to Uxbridge. And there is a second branch in central London. Aldwych is reopening. It goes to Charing Cross. It uses part of the tracks to Green Park, the old Jubilee line tracks, and then it meets again. Yes, it makes the line more complicated, more complex. No, right now we don't have anything between Charing Cross and Green Park. And we have Aldwych, which does not have good public transportation now. So this is a low-hanging fruit. New tunnels literally between the two stations. And that's why I did this. So one of the services every 20 minutes, Piccadilly line service via Aldwych to Rayners Lane. The second one every 20 minutes, Heathrow Terminal 5 to Cockfosters via Leicester Square. Next one, every 10 minutes, Cockfosters to Ealing Broadway via Aldwych. Another one, every 20 minutes again, Arnos Grove via Aldwych to Heathrow Terminal 4. And yeah, I know this might be a reduction of services on the Piccadilly line, but there is a lot more things happening where this branch runs. So it does not mean there will be less trains going through this area of London, but yes, it does mean to make more sense of the Piccadilly line that it has less trains to Heathrow. Yeah. And the last one is Arnos Grove via Leicester Square to Uxbridge. Next one. I did something funny with this line because I also renamed this one. This line was never meant to call the Viking line. Also, I don't like the name Victoria line. So We have the Bakerloo line, right? They named the line because it's running between Baker Street and Waterloo. Well, and this line is running between Victoria and King's Cross. Viking Line. It was one of the proposed names for the line, by the way, but it was never meant to call like that. It is very similar as it is today. It does not go further than Brixton on the south. It does go a couple of stations beyond in the north. It has an extra stop at Whipps Cross and it terminates at Snaresbrook. Right. And I left this one unchanged. Waterloo and City. Yeah, and the last one is the Northern Line. Yeah, I did a lot with the Northern Line. I did a lot. First of all, before I review the services, what happened with the Northern Line. If we go to Edgware, this branch is completely normal. If you go to High Barnet, we see a lot more oddities, like from Finchley Central, I built the line to Edgware. It does not go beyond, but we need this line. Yeah, I know there are no houses on the way. Yeah, the tube can go underground. We can do it. Right now, this branch with Mill Hill is more complicated than useful, really. And it shows because there is a lot of services stops at Finchley Central in the peak time and it doesn't go to Mill Hill East. This would be a perfect addition. And also something that looks like the Northern Heights project. Yes, we need this. It's useful. So what is happening? From Haringey it goes to Moorgate and Moorgate can be... I know where Moorgate is. I know where Moorgate is. Moorgate is here. We can connect the two tunnels. It's doable. Okay. In the south, it goes one station further to Morden South. And guess what? There are tracks in here because it's the depot. So just one station further and you have Morden South, right? And of course, this one, I just extended it to Clapham Junction with an intermediate station called Battersea Park Corner from Battersea Power Station. Right, services. Every 15 minutes, Edgware to Clapham Junction via Charing Cross. Then every 15 minutes, High Barnet to Clapham Junction via Charing Cross. Then Edgware via Mill Hill East and Charing Cross to Kennington. Then again, every 15 minutes, Edgware via Mill Hill via Bank to Morden South. Then every 15 minutes, Edgware via Bank to Morden. Yeah, it does not have a lot of capacity. It would be single track. Right. Then another one from High Barnet via Bank to Morden South. And another one every 15 minutes again from Golders Green to Morden. And the last one is the Northern Heights one from Wood Green going to Alexander Palace, Muswell Hill, Highgate, Crouch End, Haringey, then its usual route to Old Street, Moorgate, and all the way to Morden. It is not congested, it is just fine. This line is doing extremely fine with the simulation. I have issues with plurals today. Anyway, the next one, because this is a tube, the next mode of transportation, it's Thameslink, basically Crossrail Zero. But I didn't do that. What is my biggest problem with Thameslink today? It's the lack of consistency. Where the trains go, what do they do, and how do you know which train it is? I know it tells you every single stops where will it go and where will it stop. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. If it's a metro and it's kind of a metro, it's not the tube, I get it, but it's a metro, isn't it? This is extremely annoying. So just give them numbers and letters, won't you? Now, there is a little bit a railway-like thing I did here. We have numbers, but we have letters as well. This is how the railway works in my Hungarian map and in my London map. It's from the Japanese influence and influenced by the Japanese system, I should say. And obviously, it's working very similarly in my Japan map, which is my biggest and craziest map on NIMBY, by the way. And I will make a video of it. Shall it be in English or in Hungarian? Let me know. Anyway, first Thameslink service is already an odd one that doesn't exist today. And you will think I'm crazy, but I'm not. The simulation works fine. It's from Luton to Hendon, and then the new overground line, what they want to be the new overground line. So from Hendon, it stops at North Acton. They are not planning to make a stop in here, by the way. There is no stop. It goes right by North Acton, and there is no stop. Okay, Acton Central, South Acton, then joining the Hounslow Loop, Bedford, Scion Lane, Isleworth, and Hounslow. It does not go to central London. Yeah, the simulation, for the simulation, this is an extremely, almost overused line. It's almost not enough. Everything goes to central, and you underestimate the number of passengers who would skip central London and go somewhere else. Right. 2A, so all the A's are stopping services. 2A is St Albans to the Sutton Loop clockwise. And another every 20-minute service is counterclockwise, anti-clockwise. 4 would be Luton. Actually, don't know where this one goes. Ah, yeah, this is the Sevenoaks service. Yeah, this is the Sevenoaks via Bromley South service. Every 15 minutes. Yeah, it's a lot more often than it's exactly twice as often as it does today. Yeah, we need this service to be more frequent. And 5A is going from Luton to Richmond. How does it do that? With the same new line, just going to Richmond on the tube network. Yes, I know. There are still trains running through them. You just call it overground. Yes, the trains might be a bit longer than the stations. Don't tell me it's an unsolvable issue in 2026. Next service, 6. 6 is going between Kentish Town and Raynham. Like today, but every 20 minutes. Yeah, don't worry about it. I told you this map doesn't work anymore and it crashes. And they just queued up. Services queued up. Right. 7B, this is from Welling Garden City to Sevenoaks via Swanley every 30 minutes. I think just like today. 8D, this is a stopper service from Cambridge North to Hitchin. Then it runs express to the city. And where does it terminate? It terminates at King's Cross. Yeah, I remember the 9. The 9 does not terminate at King's Cross, and it's relatively similar, but it runs express between Cambridge and Hitchin. Then it goes express to Brighton. This is the most express service of Thameslink. And then 10D is from Bedford. And yeah, there are some trams around this area. I will get to them, I promise. This is going to Brighton as well, stopping at slightly more stations. This one is a Bedford to Three Bridges, and it's a stopper on the south. And this is the only one, I think, in the whole game that I gave 2 letters. It's from Peterborough to Horsham, because it's not running express in the south, but it's running express in the north. Right, this is the end of Thameslink Crossrail 0. Let's go to Crossrail territory. And I did some things. Whoever I told about the names, everyone hates it. Please don't hate me. You can hate the names and you can comment it. But Crossrail is called the Elizabeth Line. No, I don't like that. I never did. And it had a name already. Crossrail. If you are desperately need to name the lines, do something better. Like the Old Village that London is based on, called Londonium, if I'm not mistaken. So why not call it that? The first Londonium line service is every 10 minutes between Shenfield and Paddington. This is no longer accurate. It should go to Old Common at least. But this is a very, when I did this, there was no Crossrail, there was no Elizabeth line. It didn't exist. They started building it, I think. So this is every 10 minutes. The second service is a Shenfield Reading service. The stepping pattern is quite unique for this. So yeah, I don't want to go into details. You can check it out though. This map is uploaded to the internet, to the game itself. The third service is a Shenfield Heathrow Terminal 5 service. Every 30 minutes. Did I tell you that the previous one was also every 30 minutes? Service 4 is going to Heathrow Terminal 4 from Dartford. I just got a little bit extended to Dartford from Abbey Wood. There are plans to even extend it further. According to my simulation, you don't need that. Dartford is fine, but Dartford needs Crossrail. Okay, so the fifth service is also from Dartford. It goes to Marlow. Why don't we take over by the Elizabeth line? Sorry, Londonium line, the branches. They are isolated networks today. You can do that. You can just take them over. Why not? Every 30 minutes. Another every 30 minutes one is a Reading. I deliberately went over that one. Oh, I think this one is going to just Paddington. Ah, yeah, Yeah. This is bad. I don't want to do this anymore. This is a mistake from me. Anyway, but what it does is quite interesting. It goes to Terminal 5, then via a new tunnel it goes back to Iva. Why not? Why wouldn't you? This is such a low-hanging fruit. And you would need that. You would need a true railway to Heathrow. Why wouldn't you? I don't understand why you would need to go to Hayes and Harlington and then reverse back. This is not good for anyone who lives in the West. And you can just fix it with a simple thing like this. A train from Reading. That's it. Okay, seventh service is Windsor and Eton Central Station. Yeah, this one is not connected because I just explained how the game worked back then, but there is a tram line between the two, so it's fine. All right, so yeah, this is a Windsor to Abbeywood service, so it would still use the terminus, which does not look like in real life, but again, when I did this, it didn't exist yet. Simple as that. Last service is going to Henley on Thames. And other direction, other side is Abbeywood, of course. All right. Crossrail 2 exists. You would say in the year of 2026 that it's science fiction, but when I did this map, not even the first Crossrail line existed. It was the same science fiction, and yet it exists now. Okay, so I was trying to be as um, accurate to the plans as I can get, but I went wild with the first service, for example. The first service, let me start here. The first service is in Upminster. There is no overground here anymore. There is Crossrail at Emerson Park every 15 minutes. Then it goes to Romford. It goes on the first Crossrail line to Forest Gate and Wanstead Park. Then new tunnel to Leighton, Hackney Downs and Hackney Central, and then this is the only service that comes here every 15 minutes. By the way, this rejoins the main the core of the line, stops at Angel, Euston, Tottenham Court Road, Victoria, Kings Road, Chelsea, Clapham Junction, Wandsworth Common, Tooting Broadway, Wimbledon, and then it starts branching out. This particular one goes to Kingston, Kingston, and then it goes to Shepperton. So this is the Shepperton via Kingston branch. Every 15 minutes again. But as you can see, this is not the only thing the folks of Shepperton or Kingston can take. I will get there. The second line, in the north, it goes to Stansted Airport. Then it runs express to the core. So everyone knows that line, I hope. From Tottenham Hale, it goes to Stoke Newington, Dalston, and then via the core, which you already know, it goes to Guildford via Woking. The third apologies, every 30 minutes. The third service is again from this area, but it doesn't go to Stansted Airport, but Harlow Town, which, remember, has a better public transport system now. So we can have services, a lot more services going only to Harlow Town. This one goes to Basingstoke. The next one also every 30 minutes. Harlow Town to Hampton Court. Service 5 is from Hertford North, New Tunnel again, between Hertford East and Hertford North. It can stop in the city as well. That it can have a station in the city. It should have a station in the city. I did not bother building it though. I do not mean there shouldn't be. Just for gameplay reasons, and back then I was a bit more lazy. I didn't build the station. It covered the whole area. That's why I didn't. Anyway, this one goes to Dorking via Leatherhead and Epsom every 20 minutes. Next one, the last three services are all every 30 minutes from New Southgate. So this is an every 10-minute service from the... Oh, I didn't talk about the name. It's a Churchill line. It has to be the Churchill line. You disagree? Write me a comment. New Southgate, Alexander Palace, Turnpike Lane, Seven Sisters and South Tottenham, Stoke Newington, and you know the rest. It goes to Guildford via Surbiton, basically. So this, not the most direct route ever, but not via walking, every 30 minutes. The seventh is from New Southgate to Guildford again, but this time via Epsom. And the last Churchill Line train service is from New Southgate to Chessington South, taking over this branch. And this marks the end of the Crossrail tier services, including Thameslink. Next one. Again, this game file predates the overground lines having names. And I went a different route. I started numbering the services. Yeah, I don't like the new names. I still don't like the new names. Like, if British politicians would have any, just a tiny bit of sense of humor or not taking themselves seriously, they would call the Gospel of Barking line Goblin. It would be just perfect. But no, it has to be something politically significant, and they called it the suffragette line. I'm not interested. I don't care if this is not politically correct. I'm not interested in this. I keep, even if I redo um, my UK map, I will keep the numbers probably. This is a good system. So the first overground line is going from Euston. It doesn't go to Watford Junction anymore. It goes to Stonebridge Park. It's fine. There is the Bakerloo line every 10 minutes, more often than the overground ever did. I think it's at its peak every 20 minutes. Stonebridge Park is fine. Yeah, it could go to at least Wembley Central, but it cannot easily turn back there. And Stonebridge Park is fine. It's fine. So this is the first overground line as a metro service. It has a letter as well. Most of them is an M as metro, and some of them is having the A to E railway letters. I will explain more when I get there. The second line is familiar. It's Richmond to Stratford, as you know it today. But what is not like today is all the rest. So there is a Clapham Junction Stratford service, just like today, every 10 minutes. Oh, by the way, this is every 10 minutes as well, and this is every 10 minutes as well. These are metro services, so this is like metro, not the tube, but metro. I hope you know what I mean. There is another one that does something very similar, Stratford to Imperial Wharf, but it does not go to Clapham Junction. It goes to Dalston. I just call it Dalston. And I relocated a little bit this one, and these are the same station now with an underground passage. Okay, so it goes to Dalston. And number 5 can go from Dalston to Clapham Junction. I think this is, yeah, this is Highbury and Islington and Clapham Junction. It's fine every 10 minutes. So that means Denmark Hill has an overground train every 5 minutes. And it's okay. They are using it. The simulation people are using it. The next service, of course, is going to New Cross every 10 minutes. And then there is the Crystal Palace one. There is no West Croydon one. It does go to West Croydon, but it also goes to Epsom Downs. Yeah, I'm taking over that branch with the main every 15 minutes metro trains. Epsom deserves better. And why would you run a railway like that today? Why? It's silly. Every 15 minutes, a metro train to Epsom Downs. It's not that far. And this area needs a lot better service than it has today. It just needs one. Okay. You would say this is too many trains for the core. No, it's fine. You don't see a congestion. Not even with this broken version of the game. If I start it, there will be other trains colliding in this map, but trust me, it's fine. You can do it. Just need to want to do it, if it makes sense, right? Okay. Little bit darker tone of orange is the lines from Liverpool Street. Line 9M is the Chingford one. And it's almost the same as today. So 9, 10, 11 is almost the same. Enfield Town and Cheshunt. There is one difference. The difference is, and I know geographically it's not the best decision, and I might take it back, but because the Cheshunt and Enfield Town ones go further, those should use the express tracks. And I know they get to Hackney and they need to cross each other. I know. That's why it might not be the best idea on earth. It doesn't cause too many issues though on the simulation. It's fine. So it might be fine. I don't know. I will decide when I get here on my next playthrough. Okay. There is an O12M. This one is the Gospel Oak to Barking line on steroids. It goes to Beckton. It meets the DLR, Creekmouth, Barking Riverside. So there is overground at Barking Riverside even today. Again, this map was built before the Barking Riverside extension was a thing. But even then, I know they are building the station in kind of a silly way. It will never be able to cross the Thames. It will never happen. A Beckton service is the next best thing, and they need to do it. It needs better connection. That's it. It just needs better connecting. Barking Riverside, I'm really glad they built a station there because there was development, and development should only be a new housing estate should only be doable if they up the public transport as well. And I don't mean buses. So yeah, I'm really glad it's here. It's not enough. Okay. The next 3 has railway letters. These are all grey, but they are overground. They are the Marylebone services. So A means it stops at every stations, all the stations. And this is going from Marylebone to Gerrards Cross, and 14 goes. Yeah, 14 goes an interesting way. 14 is via uh, Harrow on the Hill. It goes to Aylesbury, and then it goes further. This is not very well served today, but there is an existing railway line here. That's what I mean. There are tracks here you can use. This is such a low-hanging fruit. I can't stress it enough. I can't stress it enough. This is a low-hanging fruit. You can electrify these lines, and it can go to Bletchley. And guess what? There is another line that requires a metro service in here to Bedford. Why wouldn't we connect these lines? Why there is nothing between Aylesbury and Bletchley, Milton Keynes? Is just a missed opportunity while there is a continuous track in here. It's a low-hanging fruit. Anyway, I'm repeating myself. This is every 15 minutes, and the previous metro service is every 10 minutes. And the last one that goes from Marylebone, it's getting the Z. Z is actually inspired by the Hungarian railways. I know we are not great, but they have a great concept. The zoner service. Zoner means there is a zone where it runs fast. It skips. It runs fast to Gerrards Cross. Remember, this is where the previous metro service terminates, and from here all the stations to Aylesbury via the main line. So High Wycombe, Monks, Princess Risborough, Monks Risborough. Yeah, and it stops at Aylesbury. The reason why there is nothing going further than here is because this is where I stopped. I was going like a clockwise direction, building the railway, starting with Greater Anglia. And the last thing I did was kind of GWR, but not the full GWR. I didn't get to the actual railway services of this line. So yeah, I will do that in a lifetime, but I will get there. Okay, next one is the 16. It's another overground service. This will be familiar. It goes between Milton Keynes and Willesden Junction, and then Old Oak Common, Shepherd's Bush. You know this service. It terminates at Clapham Junction, though. It doesn't go to Croydon. It doesn't need to go to Croydon, really. There is a lot of things that goes to Croydon. This is more. This is a lot more important. That there should be an overground service, a metro service that doesn't go to the central. It goes to a non-central hub where you can go anywhere you want. And this is not every 60 minutes like today. It's every 15 minutes. It's crazy popular, that train. It's a southern train today, by the way. Okay, next one, 2A services and overground services that leaves King's Cross are pink. So 2 pink services from King's Cross to Stevenage. Both does this, but one of them is going via Hatfield, the other one is going via Hertford. Apologies for my pronunciation. And then 19 is a B line. Yeah, I know Hertford gets the Churchill line, the Crossrail too, but an overground train can run here. They can be compatible, right? And this one can go to Liverpool Street. So this is a B service. it means it doesn't stop at all the stations. Skipping Bethnal Green, skipping this so it goes on the fast track. Then from here, it can be all the stations. It can be this stopper service on this main line to Hertford North. 020 is orange, but I give it an A letter. It's because it's between Stansted Airport and Stratford. So yes, this is another stopping service on this main line, just going the other direction. And every 20 minutes is okay, because here we have railways, we have the Churchill line, we have the Central line. So a stopping service that doesn't take the Central line route, but this stopping is completely fine. It's beautiful. Sorry. So every 20 minutes, that means these stations will get an every 10 minutes service all the time. Okay. These magenta colored services are nowadays C2C. They can be all overground and it can be incredibly simple. Mainline every 15 minutes, calling at all the stations to Shoeburyness. Then another one that goes via Tilbury and Grays to South and Central. And another one that can stop at Grays taking this route. All every 15 minutes. It's working perfectly. It's very, very, very simple. Next overground service. And by the way, you noticed that C2C now becomes a fully overground service and not a railway service. So my concept of the big railway stations, you can have the metro services. For example, in Waterloo, the metro services are white. We will get here very, very, very soon. That's supposed to be the metro. And then the heavy rail is a different color. When it comes to Waterloo, it's this rusty red that doesn't stop in London. They don't want to serve the London stations. They want to have a London terminus and they want to go somewhere else. I just separated the two services at all the London termini we have. But yeah. Oh, 24 is Waterloo. That's amazing. Anyway, so 24A is an every 20-minute service, and this is the Hounslow loop. Just like today, it does exactly the same as today. And guess what 25 is? Is the counterclockwise, anti-clockwise. Just like today. Then there is 26 that goes to Weybridge every 20 minutes, just like today. So the railway alone gives an every 10 minutes following at Chiswick or Barnesbridge. And here a lot more often, but we are not there yet. 27 goes to Windsor and Eton Riverside via Staines. 28 goes to Shepperton via Strawberry Hill and Twickenham. And 29 goes to Kingston via Strawberry Hill and Twickenham. Every 15 minutes, and Shepperton is every 15 minutes as well. So right now in Twickenham, there is this trains every 15 minutes, so that's 8 minutes. And also there is the Hounslow loop. Stopping pattern looks like kind of this. The orange I didn't get there yet. Okay, so green means Victoria. With some exceptions. I will again get there. So this is an A service from Victoria to Sheerness-on-Sea. serving all the stations, and this is the Swanley line. This is where we have an accident at the moment. 31 is a Z service, so it runs fast from Victoria to Bromley South, which I just found. Yeah, Bromley South and then Swanley. And then it goes to Otford and then all the stations to Ashford. 32 is a C, so a fast service. It also goes. I have issues locating Bromley South. It goes to Bromley South. It does not call in Swanley, but St Mary Cray. And then this is just like the Sheerness on Sea line, but it stops less. The frequent. Well, the frequencies are less stop. I almost said this sentence on YouTube. So the stops are less frequent. And in here, there is an interesting thing. So if you go to Canterbury today, there are two separate railway stations in Canterbury served by two separate railway lines. Zero connections between the two. How silly is that? So this is a Margate Ramsgate loop clockwise, and 33 is anti-clockwise. Then we have a D service that goes to Dover and then to Ramsgate every 20 minutes. This interesting purplish color is Cannon Street, and it goes clockwise via Woolwich Arsenal and Bexley Heath. And there is a counterclockwise, anti-clockwise version of it. 37 is Abbeywood and Sidcup clockwise and then anti-clockwise every 20 minutes. All of them is every 20 minutes. Then this turquoise color are the Charing Cross trains. This is via Abbeywood to Dartford every 20 minutes. Again, we need overground as well. I know we have the Londonium line / nowadays Elizabeth line in here, and so what we have one service. We need more services. So this is a stopper service to Charing Cross. Another stopping service to Dartford, but this is via Bexley Heath. Back to Victoria. This is a B service, so slightly faster to Victoria, from Victoria to Dartford, and then to Gravesend every 20 minutes. Back to Charing Cross. No, sorry, back to Cannon Street. There is a service to Gravesend as well via Sidcup every 20 minutes. And another one to Orpington every 20 minutes. Again, back to Victoria. This is another service to Orpington every 20 minutes, so it already has a stopping service every 10 minutes, just in a different route. It's the Bromley South Victoria route. 46 is a zoner to Cashleton. It stops at Clapham Junction as well, and then it goes to Dorking. I think there is a similar service, this time every 15 minutes, and it's done by a metro service. 47 is going to Epsom via Sutton. This is the same thing, just not as long, and it stops at all the stations every 15 minutes. The last one from Victoria for a good while is 48 that goes to West Croydon. every 15 minutes. Now another orange one. This I didn't give a particular color, a particular terminus color, because it serves two, and this service exists today, maybe not exactly on the same route, but this is from Victoria to London Bridge, calling at South Bermondsey, and then goes to Peckham, and then Dulwich, Tulse Hill, Streatham, Clapham Junction, and Victoria, every 15 minutes. The last bunch of lines are all from London Bridge. They have this plum color, and there is a stopping service between London Bridge and Redhill, and then Dorking, and then Guildford, every 30 minutes, every half an hour. Another stopper service to Epsom via Selhurst and Streatham, every 15 minutes. Then a zoner to Caterham. Zoner because it would run fast to Croydon and then all the stations to Caterham. Another zoner to Tottenham Corner. The concept is similar. It would run fast to Croydon and then all the stations to Tottenham Corner every 15 minutes. Now it's like every 30 or 60 minutes to Tottenham Corner. Then the last one from London Bridge, an A service to Beckenham Junction, where Crystal Palace, Tulse Hill, Peckham Rye, every 15 minutes. The last overground tier line is 55, and it does not go to central London. It goes from Bromley South to New Beckenham, and then this line to Lewisham. Then it goes to Denmark Hill. Autosave, okay. Then Clapham Junction. Then it goes to Richmond, Feltham, and all the way to Reading. This line every 20 minutes. It's very popular. I know there is not a single passenger going from Bromley South to Reading, but it's still a very important route. Okay, before I start talking about the DLR, which is the next one, there is something very important I'd like to talk about. And these are the London zones. I completely overhauled the zones. There is no longer 9+ zones. The whole of the UK will just use this one. It's centered around London, of course. There is a much smaller zone A that's concentrated in the most digested area of London. No more anomalies like with this, that there is Battersea Park and Queenstown Road in Zone 2 and then Battersea Power Station in Zone 1. And for example, on the Central Line, Marble Arch is the last one in Zone A and then Zone B. So Zone B is everything that is not central and not the most, in the strictest way, the outskirts of London. That would be Zone C. And it's like a thin layer around the borders of Greater London. Everything that's outside that is Zone D. And then there is one more zone after D, I think. Yes, Zone E, where it's all individually a little bit more railway-like, but more structured than that. Fare systems. And my idea is, it doesn't matter except E, except zone E. It doesn't matter if you cross one zones, and it doesn't matter which one is that one zone you cross, you pay the same fare. And if you cross three zones, so if you go to central London from the outskirts, yeah, you can pay a bit more, but this is organized robbery, today's fare system in London. This would be, if you are, honestly, I would just want to get rid of zones altogether. It's stupid. But I know London and the UK in general love zones, so this is my revised zone system for London. Right, DLR. I didn't really touch it. The biggest change you already see. It's going to Abbeywood via Thamesmead. They serious about this plan to go to from Galleon's Reach to Thamesmead and not connecting it to Abbeywood. Why are the British like this? Why build a railway above or below the Thames and not connect it to the other railways? I just don't get it. This DLR extension should not be built without this last bit. Last and most important bit. You know what? You can, if you want to, you can ditch this part, but build this part. Yeah, just rumbling at the moment. Anyway, every 10 minutes from Abbeywood to Bank. Then the second service from Bank to Woolwich Arsenal. Nothing new here. Then Bank to Lewisham. Nothing new here. Then this is Tower Hill to Beckton. Nothing new here. Then there is Lewisham to Stratford. Nothing new here. And again. Oh, not again. I'm so sorry. Not again. This is new. This would go between Woolwich Arsenal and Stratford International, but it would be extended to Leighton, Lea Bridge, Seven Sisters and Tottenham, South Tottenham, Haringey Green Lanes and Haringey. And speaking of that, the next part is probably the longest part of the video, and we are already above an hour, so respect if you are still with me. But I made London trams and usable plans for trams, not just an ad hoc, not just random lines I drew on the map, but actually calculated decisions and where they can redo the streets for trams. So every single tram line is like that. And I didn't just do trams for London. Okay, line 1 is very similar to today. It's between New Addington and Wimbledon, except I extended all the Wimbledon services to Clapham Junction for one very simple reason. It's already in Wimbledon, and there would be nothing else serving Earthfield. It will be a tram-only station, Earthfield. It makes sense. I think it makes sense because here is only the Southwestern Railway main line with no metro services because of the Churchill line, so Crossrail 2. But there is a tram. Yeah. So this is every 5 minutes-ish. We know this line. The second line is from Clapham Junction to Stratford. Now let's look at the route. It would go to Beckenham Junction. All the rest we know. It will go to Beckenham Junction. From there, Shortlands, Bromley North, Winmore, Brickley, Chislehurst, and let me stop in here. I already told you in the video that I do not mean that, for example, there shouldn't be a stop here. I just picked a random location, but I made the simulation to be okay. So this, at least in the old system, this station claimed all this area, and I was fine with it. Don't look at my tram map like there are stations missing. Yes, of course, but the area is covered. When I redo the map, it's now a bit more important where I put the stations, and I will be more careful. But don't judge these plans based on where exactly the stations are. Anyway, so it goes to Sidcup and Welling, and it goes to Queen Elizabeth Hospital. It goes through it, then Woolwich Arsenal, Galleon's Reach, Plaistow, and Stratford. The third line is the Elmer's End and Croydon line. Then this is 4. Uxbridge to Heathrow Terminal 2 and 3. Yeah, today nothing does this. Maybe a bus. Maybe a very infrequent bus. We need a tram here. We need a tram in a lot of other places. We need a tram here too. This is going to one of the biggest tram terminals in London. Again, very, very, very old school looking like terminus. I do not mean to put the actual station here, somewhere here. Now you can do it a lot more tidy, and I'm a lot better playing the game. Please try not to look at that like the station will be there. No, of course not. But it will be in Shepherd's Bush, and it will go to Goldhawk Road. It will go to Turnham Green and Acton Green. It would go on the railway line, which makes it a bit congested, but it's just a matter of a good signaling system, good and compatible signaling system. From Brentford, it would go out of the railway line to Boston Manor. Hanwell. No, no, not that line. Ignore me. I don't know why I did that. I was focusing on that. So it would go to it would okay. It would still go out from Brentford, but somewhere else. My apologies. So it goes to Austerley, it goes to Hounslow Town. Yeah, that's where the old Hounslow Town station is, and that's why it got the name. That's it. Hounslow West, and then Heathrow Terminals 2 and 3. This is an interesting one. It would go from Richmond to Teddington, another big tram terminus. It's not as big as I planned it to be. Then it goes to Fulwell, Witton, Hounslow Town, but it doesn't go in Heathrow. It goes past Heathrow. It does serve the car parks though. Then it goes to Slough. Then after it discovers the area a little bit. Again, exact station locations don't matter. Then in Burnham, there is place for another extra tech until Maidenhead, and it terminates at the suburbs of Maidenhead. The 7th would go between Uxbridge and Teddington via Hillingdon Hospital, reaching Hayes and Harlington. The 8th would go from Uxbridge to Shepherd's Bush. Do not go via Hillingdon Hospital. And this also would go via South Acton. the ninth line also goes through South Acton, but it would go to Teddington. So Shepherd's Bush to Teddington. The 10th would go from Northwood to Ruislip, and then to White Hart Roundabout, which would be a big interchange place between lines. Greenford Broadway, Kent Gardens, Ealing Broadway, Acton Central, and Shepherd's Bush. 11th, Green Line again, Hampton Court and Beaconsfield. The route is on the screen. This is one of the tram lines via Windsor. This is more like a light rail. You don't need to call it a tram. You can call it light rail. I don't care how you call it. I call it a tram. If you think the concept about trams is it's in big cities, the busiest streets, you have the wrong concept about public transportation, I would say. Okay, 12th goes between Bushy and Shepherd's Bush, but an interesting route. So it goes to it starts to go towards Acton Central and South Acton, sorry, and then it goes up to Northampton, and then it comes back down to actually serve the South Acton line. And this is the one that tricked me and goes out earlier at Brentford via Boston Manor and goes all the way to north to Bushy. Line 13 is terminating in East Croydon, but in a new line it would go up north, terminating at Baker Street. Yeah, it would run in or directly outside Hyde Park. 14 is Circular Line, Rickmansworth and Gerrards Cross. So it would cover all this area and would give better connectivity. Right. Line 15 is a long one. It's one of the longest line I have. It goes from Teddington, goes via Northolt, goes via Rayners Lane, and then there is a big interchange station called Apex Corner, and it goes to Enfield Town. Definitely one of the longest lines, if not the longest. This also has an interesting shape, but I have a good reason to do this. So from Pinner, if you want to go that way, you can already do that. If you want to go that way, you can already do that. But you can connect all these areas. This is important. And then this is also an important connection. I don't expect anyone to go from Pinner to North Harrow via the tram, right? But these are important connections. Mill Hill Broadway, Apex Corner, Queensbury, and then from here it acts like a tram to Heathrow Terminals 2 and 3 via Hayes and Harlington. Line 17 goes from, maybe this is the longest line. This might be the longest line, yes. It goes from Maidenhead in the countryside as a light rail if you wish. To Heathrow. It doesn't go into Heathrow but covers the car parks. Then it goes to Northolt. It goes to Apex Corner and Mill Hill Broadway. Then it terminates at Chingford. So there is a line going through here, but there is a branch going up to Chingford, covering a different area than the overground. Line 18 is one of the shortest one, just to have contrast. It's going between South Wimbledon and Hammersmith. 19 is going between Richmond and Banstead. I hope I pronounce it right. I know I cannot pronounce this one right, so I'm not going to attempt it on YouTube. Line 10 is going from Mitcham Junction to Epsom, and on Epsom it will do a circular route connecting the railway stations and covering areas of the town. It can be a little bit longer in here. Maybe I will revisit that. Yeah. Number 21 goes between Wembley Park and Kingston. 22 goes between Wembley Park and Shepherd's Bush. 23 would go from Shepherd's Bush to Chiswick. Then it could go on the railway tracks as a battery powered tram, right? Because it has third rail. It could go to Putney, and at Wandsworth Town it can go through the roundabout, and it could go across to discover this area via Imperial Wharf, would stop at this Crossrail station, and it can terminate at Sloane Square. It doesn't really need to go further. There is already a line that goes up north where there is no tube lines going, and all the rest is covered by the tube. 24. Another interchange station, not attempting to pronounce it right. Let's say Harrow and Wealdstone and a little bit up north, and this one is going all the way to South Wimbledon. So connecting lines. We are making a network, right? Not just individual lines. Right. Line 25 is also qualifying for one of the longest lines. Is going from Uxbridge to Barking. And yes, it's a tram. Why would you do such a long tram lines? Again, I just said it. We are building a network. It will use already existing parts of the network that has other tram lines on it. But this one would be like the connector between tram lines, if it makes sense. Other countries and cities do this. 26 is from Chingford, but it's going the other way. It's going to Fairlop, and then Goodmays, and then Barking. 27 is discovering this area between Debden and Loughton, and then it's going in the middle of the Central Line loop, then Hainault, then Harold Wood, then all the way down to Rainham. 28 is doing the same until a point, but it turns around to Barking. 29, again another Barking one, but then it goes to the line that would go to Rainham, but it stops at Harold Wood. 30, Gants Hill, Newbury Park, Goodmays, and this one goes to Rainham. 31, interesting shape again. Barking going into South London, Woolwich Arsenal, Eltham, Lee, Catford, and then it terminates at Elephant and Castle, a big tram terminus. Because until Elephant and Castle, everything is quite well served by railway and tube, but not after that. 32 Elephant and Castle, almost the same route but to Stratford. 33 Kennington to Brixton, and then on the network, but it doesn't go to North London, it would stop at Woolwich Arsenal. 34 Elephant and Castle to North Dulwich via Denmark Hill, and then Catford, terminating at Bromley North. This is a shorter line. Shorter lines are important as well. They are more reliable. Then Elephant and Castle to Norwood Junction, covering everything between Streatham and Norwood Junction. Then Vauxhall, Nine Elms, Stockwell, Brixton, and it terminates at Streatham. Another short line. 37 would go to Kennington and to Brixton, but then it would turn to Clapham Junction. As an alternative or another line, it might go through here. And it might make more sense. My contra-argument is then it doesn't go to Brixton. And Brixton needs better public transport. 38 is from New Eddington. Then it goes around the now Bakerloo branch, Hayes. Then after covering a couple of areas in here, it starts going up to Bromley until Catford, and the terminus is Clapham Junction via the network. And this was the last line in London. But in a country like the UK, England, you cannot think about just London. The services are running way outside of the city. Metro services. Even today, they just don't call it like that. So welcome to the concept of Midland trams. Midland Tram 1 going from Bletchley to Milton Keynes, and then it goes over to Bedford. Again, if you really hate to call it a tram because it goes through villages, don't call it a tram, call it a light rail. Identity does not matter to me, function does. Right? MT2 goes from the outskirts of Milton Keynes to the other outskirts of Milton Keynes. MT3 covering Milton Keynes and Bletchley as well. MT4 going from, again, is just a shorter route covering other areas. MT5 from Bletchley to that part of Milton Keynes. MT6 going from Bedford to Luton. And I know it doesn't go directly to Luton Airport Parkway, but if you want to do that, you have already Crossrail Zero Thameslink. So it can cover this part of Luton that is poorly covered now. Then it can go below Luton. It can cover the car park. It can cover the railway station. I have to tell you, this is again plans before they decided to build the most expensive railway in the whole country that shuttle from Luton Airport Parkway to Luton Airport. Is this a much better plan? Yes. and I will rebuild it like this. Even though, yeah, we are stuck with that shuttle, but I don't know, maybe we can reuse the tracks for a tram, I hope. It's just so silly and greedy what they did. Anyway, 7. Going around Bedford, and then it goes to Millbrook. MT8, a lot shorter line within Bedford. MT9, going from Letchworth, Worth, sorry, to these places. And it also connects Harlington Station. Speaking of Harlington Station, this one is from Harlington Station to Arsley, connecting the dots. The 11th line going around Bedford, and it's going to Flitwick. 12 going through Luton, but going over to Hitchin, covering Hitchin. Again, I'm saying it again. I don't mean we have trams in Hitchin and we only do these 2 stops. And then the last one is a really short one between Tring and Wendover. It's actually not as short as it looks like, just compared to the other ones. And this marks the end of the category of trams. Again, I don't mean there is not going to be more trams. If I rebuild this map, I have a lot more plans for other tram systems. I just didn't get that far. I was thinking about the Oxford Street tram. Honestly, I don't know if we need that. Maybe to take capacity off the central line, but we have it really well covered. Like, this is an amazing coverage by Tube. I don't know if we need the Oxford Street tram. Okay, the next big category, and this is unfinished. I recognize this is an unfinished category. I'll just go and show you as far as I got. This is the railways, the heavy rail. Let's start with this rust color, the Liverpool Street services. You can call it Greater Anglia. We are talking about railways, right? So A, this letter means the stopping frequency. A is all stations, and the most expressed is E. This is how it works. So A does not mean it will call at all the stops, just the ones that is classified as a railway station. So Liverpool Street, Stratford, Romford, Shenfield. And then in Shenfield, I know where Shenfield is again. In in Shenfield, that's the end of the metro era, and then it will just start calling at all stations. And this one is every 20 minutes to Southend-on-Sea, Southend Central. Sorry, Southend Central is the railway station's name. Today, it's terminating at Southend Victoria, but we are connecting the dots, and that's what we need to do in real life. Again, I don't mean if it goes underground, it can have an intermediate stop, but I didn't do that. It's covering the area. That's how it worked. Southend Airport is on the line. At the moment, Southend Airport doesn't have a high traffic. It can have in the future. In that case, we might need to make up an express service in this line. But right now, all the stations every 20 minutes. And we are not outside the D zone. Well, I think I missed naming these ones. No, I did not miss naming these ones. It's because this is railway, right? And this is metro, overground. All right. The second, every 20 minutes, all the stations to Southminster. Third one is a B service to Ipswich. This is skipping a couple of stops. Then an A service to Colchester town. Then a B service to Clacton-on-Sea. An A service from Colchester via Colchester town to both of these destinations. This is I know this one has an identity crisis, but I did it a couple of other times as well in the southern coast. This is a tram operated by a railway company on the same tracks. This is their kind of metro service. It's not called a metro service because it's not in London, but every 10 minutes there is a tram to connect all the dots. Which one is it? This is 5B. Yeah, this is the train. I just wanted to show you they're using it a lot, but this is actually the train, not the tram. I want to find the tram. This is the tram. And this is the tram. So they are using it, but it's a tram, right? Where was I? 7B is between Sudbury to Walton on the Naze. I butchered the pronunciation, I think. So yeah, it does not stop at all the intermediate stations, and it's not terminating in any London terminus. This is another connecting the dot service. Uh, 8 is a Braintree with Witham service. So yes, it does mean it won't have a train to London directly to London all the time. But this is an off-peak daytime service I'm mapping right now, right? So there can be a couple of peak time trains that does not terminate at Witham, but it goes to London. But I'm not modeling that. So 9 is a C service to Harwich Town. D, I mean 10 is a D service to King's Lynn. This is via Harlow Town. 11D is to Norwich. 12E, Norwich as well, but this is a premium, more premium service if you mean, and I don't mean it a greedy way. I mean we are building a new tunnel in here and in here. And it's a Japanese concept. It can be a limited express train, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more expensive, a little bit less stations to call. I mean, 3 in total, because we count the first one as Liverpool Street, right? Okay. This is helping Harlow Town to discover the outskirts. This, you can call it a metro, this part. Again, I don't care about identity. It can have other stops, like here, and then it goes to Harlow Town, stopping at all the stations. and then all the stations to Cambridge North. 14C. This is from Stansted Airport, and it goes north to Ely and then to Norwich. 15A is this service to Felixstowe, if this is how you say it, and a couple of regional lines like that. I'm not going to mention all of them, but I'm clicking on all of them and it's visible on the screen. Also look at the frequency. A couple of more regional lines. Then the HS1 services from Southeastern. I did not touch them. This is exactly the same as it is today, but if it goes on this line, it terminates at Ramsgate, and if it goes on the other line, it terminates at Margate. But I think this is how it is today. So this is good planning. I like it a lot. And I clicked away from this one that goes to Dover. I like the concept of HS1, the Southeastern trains. I really like the concept. Okay, then, so that was a St. Pancras thing. Everything else is not a St. Pancras thing. This is the one blue via Victoria, from Victoria, sorry. So it goes to Ashford on the regular tracks, and then it goes to Canterbury, and then it goes to Ramsgate, like there is an existing service like this. Then the main line that goes to Hastings via Sevenoaks. Again, this is a B line, but it does not mean every single station remains a railway station. So it does not count more express because it skips Heather Green. Heather Green, there is a metro service stopping there. Like Lee, there is a metro service stopping there. They wouldn't be classified as big railway stations anymore because heavy rail does not stop. 5 is a C service. It's just a faster version of the Hastings train. And then last one from Southeastern for a while. Oh no, there is one more. It goes to Tonbridge, then it covers this line to Ashford. And the Medway Valley line, of course, from Gravesend via Strood, terminates at Tonbridge. Okay, we are in Southern Territory. So yeah, railways won't, how should I say it? These are just names, Southern, Southeastern. These are the easiest name I came up with. I already started the reworking of this map, and I have very, very nice line names for every single overground ones. But it's just easier to call them what are they today when it comes to heavy rail. So this is an E, the most express kind of train from Victoria because it's green, not because it's southern, but because it's Victoria, to Brighton, but it does not go to Brighton. It goes to Littlehampton. Then another one that also does not go to Brighton, but to Eastbourne instead. Then, oh, there is an F. I didn't know I did F. So F would be that kind of limited express. I'm not consistent in this version of the map, which is a mistake by me. I will do better. So there will be the fastest train to Brighton from Victoria. And another express to Three Bridges and then to Horsham. Now we are leaving the Brighton main line behind. And this is called the Arun Valley line. Again, sorry for the pronunciation. You take the train here and then you take other trains that matches your destination, if you know what I mean. Capacity might be not crazy on this line, and this is the main line. It's fine. So this one goes to Littlehampton from Horsham. This one goes to Bognor Regis, which you definitely don't pronounce like that. Then a faster version of this line to Portsmouth Harbor. I will explain. I will explain. Okay. And then D service, so even faster because it goes the furthest to Southampton. And the terminus is Southampton Central. Okay. Let me quickly mention why is this here. Am I planning a railway on the sea? No, I'm not. I'm not. But this is a railway game. I needed to connect the dots. This is purely for gameplay purposes. Purely for that. I cannot build a ferry in this game. I need something that comes here. Ride pier, car park. Why is car park there? Ride pier. I'm an idiot. Anyway, this is only for gameplay purposes. I will mention it again when we get to the Southwestern Railway. But now, the Causeway line from Brighton to Seaford. All the stations every 20 minutes. Then Eastbourne to Brighton every 20 minutes. Just mentioning, because this is my YouTube video. I recently wanted to take the train from London to Eastbourne. I could buy 3 plane tickets to Budapest from London for the price of one super off-peak weekend train to Eastbourne from London one way. I love railways. I love public transport. How the UK is working today is public transport not done well. Not at all. Why wouldn't they drive if the trains are this expensive? Okay, rant over. This was the Brighton and Eastbourne service every 20 minutes. Then again, every 20 minutes, an Orr and Eastbourne service, all the stations. And then a zoner to Ashford, same line from Brighton. So basically, it's acting like a super duper express until the Hastings area and then all the stations to Ashford. And all the stations service from Brighton to Littlehampton and then from Brighton to Bognor Regis and then from Littlehampton to Bognor Regis and then a faster service from Brighton to Southampton, another faster service from Brighton to Portsmouth, and then all the station service from Littlehampton to Southampton. Again, this is a connecting the dots game. If you want to know what is it, I will be getting there soon. But for now, the Oxted line, how they call it, to East Gringstead from Victoria every 20 minutes, and then a faster version of that to Uckfield, and then the last one is the Red Hill line from Red Hill to Tonbridge, which is off-peak times not connected to central London because there is a lot other things connecting Red Hill with central London, and this is not a very busy line. Okay, we are in Waterloo and South Western Railway territory. There is the fast service to Portsmouth, just like today. Almost nothing changes. The only thing that changes is it doesn't stop anywhere. Clapham Junction, Woking, and then Basingstoke. We have the Churchill line, Crossrail 2, doing the stopping work. And then it goes to Eastleigh and Portsmouth. Okay, another one goes to Southampton, and another one goes even further to Poole on that line. There is the same but faster version. These are not very frequent, by the way. So the Portsmouth ones are half an hour. Then this more frequently stopping one is half an hour, and then this is hourly. I'm just showing you how it is at the moment in the game. And then continuing on the main line to Weymouth, same logic that there is a more frequent stopper and a less frequent stopper to the same destination. That makes it every half an hour to London. Okay. Then the Portsmouth line. A stopping service from Waterloo to Haslemere, and then a faster version to Portsmouth, and then an even faster version to Portsmouth via Haslemere. And then there can be an express, like a limited express tier of this. Of course, nothing goes through the Isle of Wight because this is a ferry. This is a ferry. I'm saying it again. This is a ferry. This is not a train, but I needed to connect the dots for gameplay reasons. Now, what is this nonsense is the Portsmouth trams. Two lines. Two lines that is finished. There will be a lot more lines that I did not finish, but I have written plans on it, and you need to wait until that video comes out in like 20 years when I got to the UK again. So there is one line that discovers this area of Portsmouth, then it goes through probably under the sea to the other side of the town, and it goes all the way to the railway at Fareham. Fareham, probably. Apologies. Portsmouth Tram Line 2 is a lot longer. It goes from Bognor Regis, New Bridges, to Portsmouth, where it can go up the railway, just like the previous one, and then it go across the sea and terminates at Stubbington. And again, this is what's finished. As you can see, there is a lot of unfinished things in this area. So expect a lot more stuff from me in the future. Another line from Waterloo to Salisbury. It's called the West of England today, right? And this is the one that goes all the way to Exeter, the Southwestern Railway. Then there is one that's called the Alton line from Waterloo to Alton. And then I don't know why I didn't give a name for this. I have no idea why, but this is not going to London. None of these, I think. Southampton to Salisbury. Another dot connecting line in here. Another one, a branch. This is one of the Portsmouth lines. Okay, so I'm saying it again. These two lines are not going under or above the sea. This is a ferry. I needed to connect them for gameplay reasons. I cannot build a ferry in this game. I can only build railways. So imagine both these lines are from right pier. Then nowadays it terminates at Shanklin. I just extended this railway a little bit and I make sure that this line is used again. Now it's a heritage railway. There are tracks, it's in use, and it's crazy to me because Newport is one of the biggest towns in the Isle of Wight, and there is a railway going there that's in use, but not by passengers. What is going on? Yes, I have way, way more plans for the Isle of Wight than this. But we are leaving the Southwestern Railway behind. And we are in GWR territory, which is unfinished. This is where I am with this map. My plans goes way beyond of this, but this is so far what's done. High-speed line from Paddington to Cardiff, then to Bristol, Exeter, Plymouth, and Penzance, and then to Oxford. This one as well. It terminates here, but I have a lot more plans with this area, a lot more plans. Westbury. I almost forgot the name of Westbury. If this is what you saw that I'm zooming in to check the town name, you were correct. So this is classified as high-speed line because it is using the high-speed tracks until Reading, but then it becomes a slower line. It again, Japanese concept as mini Shinkansens. And the last one that uses the high-speed tracks are going to Gloucester and even further. Then there is the main line. The Didcot. I don't think this line exists anymore in my plans. I have a lot better plans, don't worry. But you will need to wait that lifetime. And this is so far what I've got with this map. But yeah, I guess 2 hours video, 2 hours long video is still 2 hours. If you didn't watch or you skipped this the video, the beginning of the video, basically I am doing a more recent map starting from Hungary, and I will plan to cover the whole of Europe, and I will get to the UK again, but this is unfortunately built on an ancient version of NIMBY. I tried to fix it, but I declared it unfixable. If I start the time, trains start to run into each other. all the time, and you can't fix everything. I need to say goodbye from this, and I will, as soon as I get here, I try to go in the next one I'm probably doing is Graz and the Austrian railways, and then I'm trying to head into this direction, being Paris and Amsterdam and this area what I'm covering, and then to the UK. So yes, lots of plans for the UK, and it's going to be really good. But it doesn't exist yet, and it's a lot of work. So I'm actually not really looking. I'm looking forward to do it, but at the same time, I'm not looking forward to do it again. This is incredibly complex. The UK used to be the best of railways, the best. Now, not so much. If you watch the video from beginning to end, first of all, what is wrong with you? The second is that I had a couple of rants about how things are now. But thank you so much. If you really watched it from the beginning, thank you so much for watching this video. Today I was a bit camera shy. I did not turn on my camera. I did then I turned it off. I didn't like it. Anyway, you can see more of my videos. I am playing NIMBY. I have the Budapest and Hungary video in Hungarian. Please use automatic translations via subtitles. And let me know if you want to see more and in which language. I assume Hungarians can understand me in English as well. But let me know which language I should be speaking in the future NIMBY videos. You can find more videos on my channel about traveling, mostly real life traveling, and some Linux videos. There's more coming up. Mostly in the travel videos, I speak Hungarian, and mostly in the gameplay videos, I speak English. It's all marked, but again, use the automatic translations. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.